Your garage door could be much safer, but only if you know what's out there and what to look for. Welcome to the Garage Authority Podcast, powered by A1. I'm your host, Jonathan Phillips, and today we have a returning guest, one of my favorites. He makes me feel all warm and fuzzy inside every time we have conversations. It feels like I'm talking to a dad, brother, and uncle all at the same time. Cody Graham.
Dad, because I'm old. I get that.
Hey. Okay, so don't get mad at me. I was born in 93.
Whew.
Right?
Okay.
So when you were doing garage doors, first starting, you started garage doors when you were 17 years old after school?
95, yeah.
95. So I was just figuring out, I don't know what you figure out at 2, but I was figuring that out. I'll find out with Bash, my son, my firstborn, pretty soon. But yeah, you've been at it for a long time, so that's why it's like I view you as a figure to look up to, especially how much we've got to work together.
I feel the same about you. I look up to you as well as a friend and as a brother.
Yes,
so
of course.
I won't make you feel old and say as a father.
Now, also another reason is because if you met Cody in person, I call him bare hands. This guy has the fattest. You would not want to get smacked by this guy, even though he's the nicest person in the world and we wouldn't do it. And what happened is Cody recently had an injury. On the skill saw. So now his bare hands, now the one finger is
one's a little
massive.
bit crooked. And it's double the size of the others.
And you were doing that cutting trim?
I was ripping down some trim, yep.
And then the saw got away from you?
It goes to show you can never get too comfortable.
Never get too comfortable.
And that there are safeties on things for a reason.
Right. I think the last time that got me, I was telling you that my grinding wheel, when I was cutting aluminum brush seal, it gets all gummy and then it just caught and went. And I actually had gloves on at that point, and it still didn't stop it.
These were cut-proof gloves.
Yeah?
Just not cut-proof enough.
Not enough at all. Speaking of safety features,
yes,
that's why I wanted to bring you on today, because you have been doing this long enough, getting into the sauce a little bit early. Safety eyes were mandated in 1993. You were actually around during that transfer.
Yeah, when it first started, it wasn't mandated. They started out with, hey, this is a good idea.
Really good idea.
A great idea.
Yeah.
But it wasn't code and it wasn't mandated yet. So openers had the option of, if you wanted to install them, you could. And if you didn't, they had a little jumper. You could jump across the terminals and it would still run. So yeah, I've watched that system develop and how much better it's gotten over the years. When they first came out, they were so sensitive that I'd always say if the stars were shining too bright, the door wouldn't close. Right. They were so sensitive to light. They had to be so perfectly lined up that if you would blow on them, they would stop working.
Right.
But over the years, that system has gotten so much better, not only in sensitivity to light and to being adjusted, just all around. The beams are wider. The catch is more movement. They've mandated now how far they can be off the ground, because before they just had to be in the system, and you'd have people put them on the ceiling.
Not doing anything.
Not doing anything. You'd have people put them up 4 feet because they think, well, that way if my car hits it, it will stop. But really it's meant to keep children, things that can be 6 inches or higher, because they have to be at least 3 to 6 inches on the ground. They want to make sure that people are safe.
Right.
So then they started, okay, even code is if you buy a new house, you'll find those are 3 to 6 inches off the ground, so that a baby can't crawl underneath it and get hurt. So a young child can't try and jump over them, because they're not going to be able to. They're not coordinated enough yet.
Right.
But yeah, there's a reason for them. And for when they came out, don't get me wrong, I was frustrated. Because for a guy putting in openers, it doubled the time to put in the openers.
Right.
But it only took a little while for me to be like, okay, this is needed.
I think the definition of a safety feature that everyone messes up is a safety feature is to protect something that can't be replaced.
Oh,
that's why
so good. That's
correct. Why whenever we say safety feature in any industry, safety is for people. You can't replace people. But what's happening is people are using safety features to protect things that can be replaced.
Correct.
Which is misused, and now it's not
Yes.
doing what it's supposed to do.
Protect the car.
Yes.
Not unfortunately the person driving the car
Yeah,
or
'cause
something outside of that.
I'd say the biggest issue is safety eyes, where people use them wrong. Is it's a lifted truck. They don't pull far enough into the garage, but those 2 to 6 inches, because we're keeping safe what can't be replaced.
Correct.
And they put it up to the level of their truck bed because they didn't pull in far enough and the door comes down on the truck. I see that happen all the time. And actually something that's really interesting, for those situations and those people, let's keep safe what can't be replaced.
Mm-hmm.
They have a feature now called a light curtain. Have you got to use those?
I have, yes. That bolts to the track and
Yes.
creates basically a beam that covers the entire door opening. I have.
Yes, that's so cool. They have some that are adaptable with LiftMaster. LiftMaster is trying to come up with that's complete with theirs. But for those listening, instead of those safety eyes that are 2 to 6 inches, we're actually still going to do that. But it's a whole strip that goes up, and it shoots those little infrared lights at all types of angles. So it's like Mission Impossible when you're going through, right? But now it's not only keeping safe what can't be replaced, but also we can protect on the truck beds and the things that stick out just a little bit further, a tube or something like that for, the blue collar worker. So there's options, but let's keep this always here.
Yes. That is your first line of defense. We know that won't fail.
Yes.
So I think one of the things too people do is when they get frustrated with safety features, photo eyes or sensors to say, they don't realize they get old, and they don't always work the way that they used to. Safety sensors and safety features it's important to have them checked.
Yes.
Like yearly. There'll be times where they say, well, last year it worked fine, and now my door closes sometimes and comes back up. I just want to take those and tape them and put them somewhere. And what's going on is just the sensors themselves are getting old. So having those safety features, those sensors, having a door balance check, having pressure sensitivity checked at least once a year at a minimum is super important, because that's what's going to protect those things, like you said, that can't be replaced. And we want to make sure that those are functioning properly. And it does allow the door to work without worry.
Yes.
You can pull away, hit the button, know it's going to close. But things wear out.
Right.
And it's important, especially electronics, and especially in a 130-degree garage like here in Arizona, though those things do start to wear out. So it's important to have those checked often.
I think probably the most heartstring pulling story is the whole reason that safety eyes became law was, there was a lot of these situations that happened where unfortunately that door came down on something that can't be replaced. And there's a story through the garage door industry on this specific case that led to it becoming mandated. Mm-hmm. And I would always tell that story to students, how that came to be, the history of it. We start from 1921, C.G. Johnson making the first sectional garage door, putting it on the back of a truck, all the way up to where we have our safety features now. And there was one class where I told that story, and a gentleman came up to me, and I don't want to say his name, and it's his story to fully tell, but he was actually the brother of that case and was the one who found the situation.
Yeah.
And one of the biggest things that stuck with me is when you are a young man and you find a sibling like that, it's going to do some damage to you. And he said that he had to work a lot to get some images and nightmares away. And he actually started in the garage door industry. And he said now that he works with operators and the safety features of doors, and he sees how far they've come in safety, that it has actually helped him get through that a lot.
Oh,
and I started to tear up a little bit just to, but just I know it's just garage doors, but like for someone to go through something like that and to dive into it head first and then to bring peace to his heart about that situation, it was probably one of the most powerful moments that I've had in an instructor, and why I'm so passionate about talking about safety features with people.
I believe that. And how comforting it would be to see that an industry is not letting that go to waste. That my sibling, the unfortunate circumstances of it didn't go to waste. That
Yes.
they looked at it and said, listen, we've got to do better.
Yeah.
And we're going to do better. So, yeah, there's been so many more safety features that have been added since I was a kid.
Right.
You know, when I was a kid, you could grab a garage door, hold on to it, and it'd take you up with it.
Yeah. I'm sure there's
And it was great fun.
Yeah.
Nowadays, that ain't going to happen.
You ever see those videos where like a mom's undoing the groceries and one of the little kids? Fortunately enough, these are good situations because it's always the mom turning around, dropping the milk and eggs
and grabbing their child.
grabbing,
Yes.
Yes.
But that's really what it was. Back in the day, it was just about getting the door up and down.
Yeah.
It wasn't about safety. It was just about how can this moving wall on your house just get up so the car can get in and get down when you're in the house. That was all it was about. No one thought about the safety end of it.
Right.
And it's unfortunate, no one ever does until something happens.
Right. And I mean those safety eyes, whether it's something, you know,
Yep.
that's a little bit lower, keeping safe what can't be replaced, and then also the forces feature that
Yes.
they have in them. Can you explain that to people?
So back in the olden days,
Four score.
the force adjustments used to be a bolt on a spring, and then there'd be a little switch. So you would screw this bolt in to get to a point where if the door hit something, the switch would kick over.
Okay.
And it would reverse the door. That was about 20% effective because about 80% of the time it didn't work.
Right.
But that's how it started. And then they started doing circuit boards, and those circuit boards had some tuning in them to where you can adjust how much force of lifting force and closing force on a garage door there would be. But there's always that possibility of it being turned too high. And how many times have we been in garages where we see those things maxed out?
Everyone turns them up because as soon as someone decides it's forces, they go, I'm going to turn this up so I never have
Yes.
to deal with it again. Okay. But what you have to deal with now
Yeah.
is whenever that truck bed or Lord forbid, you know, Mittens, the cat, like safety feature's gone now.
It's gone. They instead of addressing the issue, they just say, "Oh, I'm going to try and fix the symptom."
Yes, and you're
So,
trading it for a worse symptom.
worse, correct, and a horrible outcome if something does go wrong. But nowadays, there's a computer,
Yes.
which is phenomenal. We can't even manually go in and change those forces anymore on a LiftMaster opener. The computer runs that door and knows exactly how much pressure to put on and won't allow it to do more than 5 pounds of pressure at any point. It learns every inch of that door's movement,
Right.
so that if anything ever happens and there's an obstruction that it hits, it knows immediately. Feather touch technology is what I always call it.
Yeah.
And it will reverse and nobody gets hurt.
So what new tech, because I mean safety eyes, forces, these have been, you know, kind of sticks and stones, and now they've progressed amazingly. And I think the industry's got them down pretty well. It's hard for me to imagine how it would get better, but they're there. What new things are coming out on garage doors as far as a safety feature?
Well, we're going to combine two things.
Cool.
So there's this new system now called MyQ that
Yes.
LiftMaster has. And built into MyQ itself even has safety features. Yes, every opener is going to have the photo eye sensors. Every opener is going to have pressure sensitivity. But now we're talking about doors opening and closing when no one has their eyes on them.
Yeah.
With this MyQ that runs from your phone.
Yeah, if I'm not at the house and I see I got to click a button, I'm not there.
You're
I'm
not
at work.
there.
I'm in traffic. Don't text and drive.
So now you've got a system that what if you are closing that door and there's somebody there or there's something in the way? How are they going to know, first of all, the door's closing? How are you going to know if they're going to be trapped or get trapped by the door? So even built into that system, there's safety features of lights flashing, bells ringing, so that if somebody is in there, that when you hit that button, there's going to be a warning that's saying, hey, this door's closing. And if something goes wrong, your phone tells you something went wrong.
Yes.
Which is amazing. And it'll tell you what went wrong.
Yes.
It'll say photo eye obstructed. It will say a closed force, like it hit something and came back up. I love the fact that LiftMaster cares so much about safety that they put a camera in every operator now.
Yeah.
So you can actually see if this happened, what happened.
And talk
you can
through
see
it.
and talk through it. I'm closing the door.
Yeah.
It's amazing because that's not something they had to do. But they saw where the need was, and they created a solution for it. They could have just done, hey, we can just open and close this with a phone.
Right.
But they're like, but we can do better.
Yeah.
Let's make sure they can actually see what's going on. And it's just amazing, the fact that you can see everything that's going on and make sure that everything is safe by the time you close that door and that nobody's going to get hurt. Again, man, I couldn't imagine, because there are things that can't be replaced in this world.
Yeah.
And those are the things you want to keep as safe as possible.
And it's the security of it, too.
Yeah.
The security of the MyQ. I'm not just talking about safety and the functionality of it. I'm talking about safety and the planning of your day and your lifestyle. I don't want deliveries to go into my home. I don't want porch pirates taking my items. I can get it delivered into the garage. Maybe there's a service that needs to be done at my home, and I can set it to where it'll only open with this specific code at these certain times. Like, these are not only functional, but also just your daily planning and lifestyle. Now, what can homeowners do to test these features themselves? MyQ, does your phone turn on and does the app work?
Correct.
More of the forces and safety
I
eyes.
would say for the safety eyes, always run that door and kick your leg under it. Make sure they're actually working.
Or a little broom.
A broom, anything. Just something. Even if you want, put a box in front of it, try to close the door. You want to make sure that they're working properly. And I always say give them a little wiggle, because when they start to go out, they go out of alignment really easily.
Yeah.
But when they're really good, you can wiggle them around an inch and they're going to stay lined up. So check that, because you don't want to all of a sudden have that safety feature fail and then you're stuck with the door, it won't close, and then you're trying to override that system.
Yeah.
There's an override. But when you override that system, it overrides all safety systems. It is the fail-safe to get a door down if you have to. But man, it can cause damage, and it can hurt things that we don't want hurt, and it can damage people, and we don't want to damage people.
No, not at all.
But I always do that. I always say check those, and then there is something we call a 2x4 test for pressure sensitivity. You take a 2x4 and you lay it flat in the middle of the door, right in the path of the door, and you close that garage door. If it comes down and it hits that 2x4 and comes back up, you know that you're okay.
Right.
That is the industry standard. It needs to reverse within 1.5 inches of closing. Interesting, that's 1.5 inches worth of closing. You would think it would have to be more. I mean, it will anywhere, but tiny things and tiny people get stuck under doors in 1.5 inches. So they want to make sure if it's a child and it's an arm or a leg that's under there, it's going to reverse no matter what. So I would always say once a year, put a 2x4 down in the path of the garage right in the middle, lay it down flat, hit your button. If the door comes down and reverses, high five.
Right.
If not, call a professional and get that adjusted. Find out if it's the safety system that's an issue or what's causing it not to reverse, because that will trap somebody. It can hurt somebody. I remember worked for the manufacturer out of Salt Lake for years, and there's an old security video. This is back before PhotoEyes. This is back before any of that stuff. Where
was it in black and white?
Not in black and white. It was in color.
I'm so mean
but
today.
This one of the vice presidents of this company said, "I'm going to test this to make sure it reverses." This is back when I told you about the old screw that you used to have to adjust.
Right.
So he adjusted it and everything, and then he laid down. He hit the button, and then laid under the door. That door came down and did not stop, and crushed his chest. There was a video of him working his way out for about 10 minutes to get out from under this door.
My goodness.
And at that point, he's like, these garage door openers that they were using at the time, they're like, we're never using these ones again.
Good on him.
Yeah. And he was like,
I'm glad he's okay.
He's okay. Oh, I'm sure his pride wasn't.
Yeah, that's a rough
But it
one.
was rough.
Yeah.
So, but don't get me wrong, it was always played at the Christmas parties and stuff. It was funny. But it was also used as, this is why we have the safety features we have now, was because not everyone can withstand that.
Right.
And he knew enough about garage doors to be able to get a side up, to get a cable to throw, to
Right.
take pressure off one side. He knew enough about that.
Right.
Not everyone does.
Not everyone does. So, I mean, we've gone over safety features, safety eyes becoming into law, auto reverse systems, whether that's with the safety eyes or the forces. We talked about MyQ. We talked about keeping safe what can't be replaced. I'm sure people are going to be annoyed with that phrase by the end of this. How often should we do safety checks on the door?
Oh, at least every 12 months at a minimum.
The
bigger and heavier the door, the more often.
Right.
Because weight is the one thing that is going to cause the most damage to anything.
Right.
I would say even one of the safety systems or safety checks we want to do at least once a year is we want to make sure a door's balanced. We want to make sure that when you unhook it from the opener and it's up, that it stays up.
Right.
You want to make sure when you bring it halfway down that it stays and you can let go and it doesn't drop. You want to make sure that door has no possibility of free falling.
Right.
Back when I worked for that manufacturer up in Salt Lake, there was a case that they got called out to be like an expert witness on.
Okay.
Because garage door manufacturer, hey, let's call him in as an expert witness. There was
Right.
a tragedy that happened where there was a contractor at a house working on a house, and he walked in the garage and he was getting ready to close the door. So he just pulled the rope really quick because he was going to close the door and work inside.
This is why we always tell you to do balance tests with
Yes.
the door on the ground. Proceed.
So he unhooks this, and as he unhooked it, this was an old, like I said, we're talking the heavy wood door.
Right.
That door starts going down. Little did he know, because the system was so old, there were no safety features, that door had been lifting with a broken spring. And of course, as he pulls that, there's somebody following him. And that door comes down, and unfortunately didn't end the way that anyone wanted to, tragically.
Tragically.
So they were called in as expert witnesses on how garage door works and how this could have been prevented and whose fault is this?
Right.
Is this the contractor's fault or is this something else? But that is why we want to make sure that doors are balanced. And you're right, start on the ground.
Yes.
And you want to make sure that the door is not going to free fall. And nobody wants to have to experience something like that.
No.
I mean, I imagine that contractor was heartbroken as it was, and then being drugged through everything else because of it. If we just check those simple safety features, photo eyes, a 3-point balance test, a safety reverse test with the 2x4 on the ground, it just eliminates the possibilities. Not all possibilities, because there's always something, but it eliminates most of the possibilities that something is going to get damaged or somebody's going to get hurt.
Man.
That's why they're there.
Yeah.
Their story of the gentleman that had to go through that with his brother, that's why they're there.
Yeah. Dude, thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
Every single time it comes on, it's just makes me realize why we do what we do.
Yeah.
And it's a little bit more than just making the aesthetics of the home a little bit better. It's a little bit more like I do believe and love my job enough to where I do feel like I am keeping people safe in their everyday life. I'm not a firefighter. I'm not, a first responder. Like, it's not that. But I take my job very seriously because I do know the consequences of ignoring safety features, ignoring maintenance. And if I can just make sure that people are safe with something they would never expect to hurt them or their property, and if I can just make their day a little bit better, that's what makes this job worth it. And I feel like you encompass that. So I appreciate you.
It does. We sometimes look at safety features and we think, oh, this is just one of those things because they're trying to avoid. That safety feature came around because something happened.
Yeah.
Manufacturers aren't going to just voluntarily say, I'm going to do this.
Yeah, I'm going to go out of my way and
Yeah.
spend more money in testing.
Correct. It is because something tragic usually happened.
Yeah.
And they want to make sure that doesn't happen again. And like you and I, they care. It's about people.
Yeah.
We want to make sure that people are safe, that their families are safe, that their home is safe, that their packages are safe.
Right.
All those things. And it's just amazing in the last almost 31 years I've been doing this, how I've seen that safety grow to the point where it's not just about safety for the door, it's safety for the person, safety for their home, safety for the packages they have delivering. Because you're right, porch pirates are a thing.
Yeah.
And MyQ is one of those things that's helped mitigate that problem and keep that from happening so much. It's become all-encompassing. Instead of just, hey, we want to keep the door safe, it's about keeping people safe.
Yeah. Brother, thank you so much for coming
All right,
on.
man.
Love you.
Love you. I appreciate you.